Hey guys, Mara here and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a review, demo, swatch, kind of mini makeup tutorial using the brand new Morphe 25A Copper Spice palette. These just launched from Morphe and they were limited edition, but they are going to restock them. I decided to pick up this one here because it's like a mini 35O palette. You get those really nice warm shadows. I used it today to create this eye look, and I have a little mini tutorial for you guys towards the end of the video. I have me doing this eye look, what I've done, explaining everything using all these shadows. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch each row for you guys and give you my first impressions on these shadows. So if you guys want to see more about the Copper Spice palette, then just keep watching. Okay, so upon first impression, and here is the palette that was inside. It is new packaging from Morphe. Here's the little Morphe logo down in this corner. I don't know how I feel about this packaging. I like that it's open so that I can see on the inside, but I feel like this might break easily, so I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm gonna have to be really careful because this is just a plastic piece. But when you open it, I really like the layout of the square shadows. I like the 25 shades. I actually prefer this size palette as opposed to their 35 palettes that have the round shadows in there. I really like how compact and sleek this palette looks. Whenever I first looked at this, the first thing I noticed was that there's not a shade in here that can be used as a good highlighting shade. You'll see in my little tutorial portion of the video, I had to pull out some different shadows to highlight the inner corner of my eyes as well as my brow bone because this peachy shade is not light enough for us fair girls. There also is not any very light shimmer shades that can be used to intensify looks or do that inner corner. I really like the really intense highlighted inner corner that I get with my L'Oreal Infallible shadow. I just can't get that with this, so I'm gonna have to pair this with another palette, which is kind of inconvenient for people who like to travel and take one palette with them. You might have to throw a single shadow or a little trio in the case, like I use a little trio to pair along with this. But you do get a nice matte black here. This matte black was pretty pigmented. Is it the most pigmented black I've ever used? No. But the standouts in this palette for me are definitely the shimmer shades. They are so pigmented. I have never seen Morphe shimmer shadows be this pigmented. I am obsessed. I used these two shimmer shades on my eyes today. The gold one is popped in the center and then the coppery shade is all over my lid. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch each row for you. I'm going to go down the palette like this and I will tell you guys which row I'm on and which ones were standout shadows in my opinion. Okay, so here is row 1 in the palette. These two darker shades are definitely the most pigmented in the row. As you can see, these lighter shades over here just aren't quite as pigmented, but they still worked well for our transition colors. I used this shade right here in my transition area, and I used this one actually to set down my eyeshadow primer that I used. Okay, so here is row 2. This shimmer satin shade right here is really stunning. It had the best pigmentation out of all of them. Actually, this shade and this last shade here, this like warm brown kind of mustardy shade, these two were really pigmented. This fourth shade, which would be this shadow here, really didn't have that much pigment and I'm kind of shocked. But it's kind of similar to the third shade here, so I can kind of get over it. This one was pretty pigmented. Okay, so here is the third row. Let me tell you a little bit what my thoughts are on them. This first reddish shade really went on smooth. It was a very smooth, buttery matte. Same with the second one, it was just a little bit lighter in pigmentation. This third one here was kind of patchy. It was kind of like jumpy when I ran my finger down my hand. This fourth one was pretty pigmented as well. It was similar to the second shade. Not quite as pigmented and buttery as the first reddish shade, but still pretty pigmented. This last one I actually had to go over twice, so it didn't have the pigmentation as the other ones. And again, it was like that patchy, kind of like the third shade here. It was pretty patchy and it kind of jumped whenever I like ran my finger down my hand. So those two shades, which would be this shade, the middle shade, and this last shade here were a little bit patchy, not quite as pigmented. This first shade though, this reddish shade, was very buttery. Probably the most buttery out of the mattes that I've swatched so far. Okay, now jumping into the fourth row, which is this row. It is a completely shimmery row. I love this row. Wait till you guys see the swatches on these because I already swatched the two that I used in my eyes today and they are excellent, guys. Look at these shadows, guys. OMG. Why did I just say that? Anyways, these shadows in this row are beyond pigmented. This gold is the gold that I have popped on my inner, like the inner part of my eyelid today, like kind of creating that halo effect. And then I have the copper all over my lid with the gold popped right on top. Stunning, guys. These pigments are out of this world. I don't know what they did, but they need to keep this formula because Morphe, these shadows are amazing. There's not one shadow in this row that I had trouble with. I swatched them all one time. This is one swatch for you. Like, this row alone is worth the entire palette to me. I would have spent $17 for 5 amazing shadows like that, including these shimmers down here that I know are going to be phenomenal as well, even though I didn't swatch them yet, but I have hopes that they will be. I would have spent $17 on 8 shadows that are as amazing as these, so really impressed there. Not only is this row very, very, very pigmented, but it's very buttery as well. I didn't have any problem with fallout or anything with the glitters, which sometimes shimmery and glittery shades I find I get fallout all over my cheeks. I did not have that at all whatsoever with these shades. They're so buttery and creamy and just like so blendable and smooth on the eyelid. Okay, so here is the last row. Again, those 2 shimmer shades, like the first 2, are unbelievably pigmented. They're unbelievably metallic. This one's a little bit of like a rosy gold almost. It has that like rose undertone, taupey rose, I don't know. The second one is like a metallic brown shade, and then we have like a shimmery brown. It's like a matte with little flecks of glitter is the third shade there, and then the matte deep brown, and then the matte black. The matte black isn't the most intense black that I have tried, but it was definitely buildable on my eyes. So overall, I think this palette is a phenomenal palette. Whenever it restocks, I'm not sure when it will restock, but try to get your hands on it. So yeah, guys, if you want to see these shadows in action, then continue to watch. I filmed this eye makeup look for you, so hope you enjoy and continue watching for the makeup look. Okay, so I forgot to tell you, but I'm taking my Shadow Insurance primer and I'm just applying it all over my eyelid up to the brow bone. Okay, and then I'm grabbing my Morphe 25A Copper Spice palette, the brand new palette, and I'm going to take my fluffy Morphe M441 brush and I'm dipping into this flesh shade right here. It's a little bit warm for my tone, but it's okay to like set this primer down because we're going to be blending other shadows on top. So I'm just blending this shadow all over my lid. Once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and reach for this peachy shade right here. I'm going to use this as my transition shade today. And then on a more precise blending brush by Morphe, it's the M433, I'm going to take this warm brown right here. It's like a mid-tone warm brown. And I'm going to start concentrating these darker colors more into the crease. And then on the Bullet Crease brush by Morphe, it's the M321, I'm going to take this deep, it has a little bit of red in there, but this deep brown right here. And I am going to further deepen up the crease, keeping it really nice and tight into the crease. Then I'm going to take that first fluffy brush and dip back into the peach shade. And I'm just going to go over that area, like kind of above the crease, and just make sure everything's nice and blended. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take this little double-ended precision eye brush from Bare Minerals. It has this like brown bristled brush on this side. It's like a shader brush. And I'm going to dip into this deeper shimmery shade here. And I'm going to start packing this all over the lid. Okay, so once I have a base layer down, I'm going to flip that brush around and use this this little pencil brush side. And I'm going to dip into this deep shade right here. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the black. And I'm going to start putting this right into the crease, like directly into like the hollow of my crease. And then I'm going to take that fluffy brush yet again with some more of the peach shade, and I'm just going to start blending that black out a little bit. It's a little bit harsh. I went into this brown again, like this warm brown. And I'm just going to start lightly buffing out that black. Like I kind of tap it on there to get it where I want it. And then I'm going to take the fluffier M441 again, and I'm just going to blend that brown shade out. Okay, back into the lid. I'm taking that packing brush from Bare Minerals again, and I am going to wet it with MAC Fix Plus. And then I'm going to dip back into this copper shade, and I'm going to start intensifying that orange. And I'm also going to start like being more precise about near the edge and really carve out that crease. And then I'm going to flip it over yet again because I took away some of the black, and I'm going to dip straight into the black with the pencil brush side. And I'm going to just very carefully place this right into the crease area. I'm going to take that damp brush from Bare Minerals, and I'm going to dip right into the brown or the gold shade in the palette. This is a very, very intense gold. You don't need much at all. And I'm just going to place this right into the center of the lid. Okay, so once I have that done, I'm not completely done with my eyes yet, but I want to go ahead and do my face, which I'm going to do really quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I am back and I'm going to finish up the eyes here. So I'm going to go back into the Morphe palette, of course. I think I actually want to use this matte, like warm reddish brown here, because it's going to complement that coppery shimmery shade that I put on. And I'm going to drag this right on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the black, just a little bit here, and I'm going to concentrate it on the outer part of my lower lash line. I'm going to take my Maybelline Lasting Drama Gel Waterproof Liner thingy in the shade Soft Nude, and I'm going to apply this to my waterline. Then the one thing that this palette didn't have that I was kind of like, it kind of like threw me off a little bit, is it didn't have a nice white shade to apply to the brow bone or a shimmery shade to highlight the inner corners. So I just grabbed this little Maybelline trio in the shade Almond Satin, and I'm going to take this white shade to highlight my brow bone. And then I'm going to take, you know, my favorite inner corner highlight, the L'Oreal Infallible Shadow in the shade Iced Latte, and I'm just going to highlight my inner corners. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm going to apply a winged liner. I'm really terrible at winged liner, so bear with me, but I'm using my Too Faced sketch marker, and now I'm going to curl my lashes and apply 2 coats of my Kiko Extra Sculpt Volume Mascara, and I will be right back yet again. Okay guys, so I went ahead and put mascara and lipstick on, and that completes this makeup look. I had a lot of fun creating with the new Copper Spice palette, the 25A from Morphe. I think this is a really great palette. I know that it's limited edition and that it sold out instantly on their site, but they have said that they're going to restock it. I can't wait for that because I am going to try to get my hands on the other one. I forget what it's called at the moment. This palette is overall a really great palette. The pigment on these is phenomenal. I have never had a Morphe palette as pigmented as this. The color here is perfect. It's like a mini 35O palette. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!